Okay, question one. The table above shows the kinds of foods that are fed to the cats and dogs currently boarded at a pet care facility. What fraction of the dogs are fed only dry food? So when they say what fraction of the dogs, we only want to look at the dogs. We want to zoom into just this row. Nothing else is relevant. And so the answer will come from this row. What fraction of the dogs are fed only dry food? So how many dogs are there? There are 25 dogs. So it's out of 25. And only dry food? Well, there's 2 of them. Just those 2. So 2 out of 25. So B. Question 2, which of the following expressions is equivalent to the one above? Okay, so we have to distribute this negative sign. You get x squared minus 3, and now you distribute, you get plus 3x squared and minus 5. And then you combine like terms. You can combine this and this to make 4x squared. And then you can combine negative 3 and negative 5 to make negative 8. So this is the answer, which is A. Question 3 says a certain package requires 3 centimeters of tape to be closed securely. What is the maximum number of packages of this type that can be secured with 6 meters of tape? And they tell you that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. So 6 meters, you multiply that by 100, and you would get 600 centimeters. Okay, that's how much tape we have. It requires 3 centimeters for each package. So 600 divided by 3, and you would get 200 packages as your maximum. So that's C. Question 4. A market researcher selected 200 people at random from a group of people who indicated that they liked a certain book. The 200 people were shown a movie based on that book and then asked whether they liked or disliked the movie. Of those surveyed, 95% said that they disliked the movie. Which of the following inferences can appropriately be drawn from this survey result? Okay, it says at least 95% of people who go see movies. That's movies in general, and that's not what this is about. At least 95% of people who read books, so that's just reading books in general, not this book, but all books, books in general. Most people who dislike this book will like this movie. Well, we never found anyone who disliked the book. We found 200 people who liked the book, so we're not going to make any conclusions about people who disliked the book. Finally, most people who like this book will dislike the movie, and that matches what we had. We had 200 people who liked the movie, 200 people who liked the book, and 95% of them, so most of them did not like the movie. So the answer is D. Question 5, which of the following ordered pairs, x, y, satisfies the inequality given by this 5x minus 3y less than 4? So they ask you if 1, 1 will work. So we plug it in. This is the x and this is the y. 5 times 1 minus 3 times 1 less than 4. This is 5 minus 3 less than 4. 2 less than 4. So number 1 is correct. Let's look at number 2. We're plugging it in, so 5 times 2 minus 3 times 5 less than 4. This is 10 minus 15 less than 4. Negative 5 less than 4, which is also correct. By now we can already choose C because we have 1 and 2 correct. But for completeness, I'll look at number 3 as well. Let's plug that in. 5 times 3 minus 3 times 2 less than 4. 15 minus 6 less than 4. 9 less than 4, which is false. So number 3 is false, and we have an answer of C. Question 6. In the equation ax plus 3 quantity squared equals 36, a is a constant. If x equals negative 3 is a solution of the equation, that means if you plug in negative 3 for x, it will become true. What is one possible value of a? Okay, let's plug in negative 3 for the x. So you have this to start off, and then you have a times negative 3 plus 3. Well, a times negative 3 is called negative 3a plus 3. squared equals 36. Okay, and now we will square root both sides. When you square root both sides, you need a plus minus on this side. So you wind up with negative 3a plus 3 could be 6, and negative 3a plus 3 could be negative 6. You solve this, you subtract 3 from both sides, you get negative 3a equals 3, and divide by negative 3a equals negative 1. That is a possible answer. That's actually given, so the answer is C. But let's look at what the other one is. Subtract 3 on both sides, negative 3a equals negative 9. Divide by negative 3, a is 3 is the other possibility. They didn't have that, so we just went with what they had, which was this one. So the answer is C. Questions 7 and 8 refer to the following information. We have distance and density of planetoids in the inner solar system. The scatter plot above shows the densities of 7 planetoids. You can see 7 dots in grams per cubic centimeter with respect to their average distances from the sun in astronomical units, which is AU. And then the line of best fit is also shown, which is this line. Okay, question 7 says, according to the scatter plot, which of the following statements is true about the relationship between a planetoid's average distance from the sun and its density? Let's take a look at the options. Planetoids that are more distant from the sun tend to have lesser densities. So these are more distant than these, and they truly do have lesser density. So A is true. That is probably the answer, but let's take a look at the rest. Planetoids that are more distant from the sun have tend to have greater densities, which is not true. They tend to have lesser densities, so that's not true. C, the density of a planetoid that is twice as far from the sun as another planetoid is half the density. So that would make A true if that were the case. So, but let's take a look at why C is false. Twice as far. Okay. This is about, this guy here is about roughly 0.7, and this is about 1.5, and that's double, about roughly, approximately double. If I compare, let's say, these two planets, these two planetoids, okay. This is roughly 0.7 AU from the sun, and this is roughly 1.5. So it's close to double. It's a little more than double, but it's about double. So you would expect to have half the density. Well, this density is 5 and a bit more than 5, and this is just under 4, which is not half. Then it's not half of this amount. So C is wrong. The density from the distance from a planetoid to the sun is unrelated to its density. That's not true. It's not unrelated, because you can see that the further you go out, there's less the density. Also, this line has a negative slope, which means the more right you go, the more down you have to go. So the answer is A. Same data. Let's look at question 8. An astronomer has discovered a new planetoid about 1.2 astronomical units from the sun. According to the line of best fit, which of the following best approximates the density of the planetoid in grams per cubic centimeter? So 1.2 is here, 1.2. We have to just trace this 1.2 to the line of best fit and see where that takes us. Okay, it's more than 4.5, but below 5. So the answer is C. Question 9, based on the equation above, what's the value of AX plus B? So you see there's an AX plus B somewhere in here. We just have to rearrange a little bit. So 9AX plus 9B minus 6 equals 21. We're going to add 6 to both sides. And you get 9AX plus 9B equals 27. And finally, to get AX plus B, you divide by 9. Now you can divide by 9 this way, if you're comfortable doing so. And equivalent to that is to divide each term by 9. because dividing the whole thing by 9 is dividing each term by 9. And then you get ax plus b equals 3. So the answer is A. Question 10. Lonnie spent 15% of her 8-hour workday in meetings. How many minutes did you spend in meetings? Okay, we have to convert to minutes. We have to know that 1 hour contains 60 minutes. So 8 hours, if you multiply by 60, you get 8 times 60. This is a calculator section. Feel free to use your calculators to get 480. You get 480 minutes. And now 15% of that. Feel free to use your calculators. 0.15 times 480. Let me get a calculator out real quick. And here's the calculator. And we could do the 8 times 60. And that's 480. And now 15%. So we have to know 15% is 0.15. If you're not entirely sure, just do 15 divided by 100. You get 0.15. So 0.15 times 480 is 72. This is 72 minutes. So the answer is D. Okay, question 11. A software company is selling a new game in a standard edition and a collector's edition. The box for the standard edition has a volume of 20 cubic inches, and the box for the collector's edition has a volume of 30 cubic inches. The company receives an order for 75 copies of the game, and the total volume of the order to be shipped is 1,870 cubic inches. Which of the following systems of equations can be used to determine the number of standard edition games, which is S, and collector's edition games, which is C, that were ordered? Okay, so fortunately for us, we can quickly eliminate. And so if you want just the final answer, it's very quick. 20 cubic inches for the standard edition, which is S. So you want 20S. Also 30 for the collectors, which is C. So 30C. And so you would like to see this in your answer. And A has 20S plus 30C, so that works. This one does not. This is 25S and 25C. That's not what we have. This doesn't have the 20S and 30C, so this is wrong also. So the answer is A. Where are they getting the first equation from? Well, there's 75 copies, so you need S plus C to be 75. And if you rearrange it, let's say you subtract S from both sides, you can get C equals 75 minus S, and that's just what they had for the first equation. But we already knew that this is the only one with the correct second equation. So the answer is A. Question 12. A customer paid $53 for a jacket after a 6% sales tax was added to that jacket. What was the price of the jacket before the tax? Okay. So when you pay 6% on some object, that means you're going to take that object and multiply by 1.06. That's how you pay 6% tax on it. So where does this come from? Well, you need the original, and then you need the 6% tax. And that will give you the total, 53. But if you combine like terms here, keep in mind this is 1x. You would add the coefficients, and you get 1.06x equals 53. Which is why you can just start with here if you're comfortable with percentages. And then from here, you divide by 1.06 on both sides. And that's where you can get, let's get that calculator out. Okay, so here's a calculator. You would do 53 divided by 1.06, and you get $50. So X is $50. So the answer is B. Question 13. Teresa's running speed and time. Teresa ran on a treadmill for 30 minutes. You can see from 0 to 30 minutes. And her time and speed are shown on the graph above. According to the graph, which of the following statements is not true concerning her run? Okay. We're looking for a false statement among these four. So 3 of them will be true. Let's see. She ran at a constant speed for 5 minutes. Constant speed is represented by a horizontal line, an unchanging speed. it occurred right here. So, and this part is 5 minutes. It's from minute 5 to minute 10, which spans 5 minutes. So this is actually true. But remember, we're looking for a false statement. Okay, let's keep going. B says her speed was increasing for a longer period of time than it was decreasing. Let's look for the increasing and the decreasing portions. This part is increasing. Going up is increasing. Here is also increasing. So let's look at that. This was 5 minutes. It went from 0 to 5. That's a 5-minute period. And this was from 20 to 25. Another 5-minute period. 5-minute period, 5-minute period. There's 10 minutes of her speed increasing. Okay, but that's just the increasing part. Now let's look at the decreasing part, where it goes down. It goes down here, it goes down here. This went from minute 10 to 20, which is a 10-minute stretch of time. This piece went from minute 25 to minute 30, which is a 5-minute piece of time, which is 15 minutes for the decreasing. So now we have both of those we can compare. It says her speed was increasing for a longer period, which is not true because the increasing was only 10 minutes, but the decreasing was actually the longer one. So this is a false statement. So there we have it. The answer is B. Let's look at C and D just for a complete explanation. Teresa's speed decreased at a constant rate during the last 5 minutes. So they're talking about during the last 5 minutes, which is just this part. And decrease at a constant rate means a line. They're saying that this part here is a line, and decrease, so a negatively sloping line, which is true. Her speed reached its maximum during the last 10 minutes. During the last 10 minutes. Okay, where is the maximum speed? The maximum speed, the highest point is here. 8 miles an hour, that's the maximum. During the last 10 minutes, well, from minute 20 to minute 30, that's the last 10 minutes. And this did occur during the last 10 minutes. In fact, it occurred on minute 25, which is within the last 10 minutes. So another true statement. So B is false and B is the answer. Okay, question 14. In the figure above, what is the value of x? So we're given a quadrilateral. It's called a quadrilateral. Quadrilateral. It has 4 sides. I'll use n for number of sides. It has 4 sides. So the formula for the sum of all the interior angles is n minus 2 times 180. So you have 4 minus 2 times 180. You can use a calculator to figure out that this is 360. So these angles must sum up to 360. Okay, so let's figure out what x is. If you add up the angles, you get x here plus x, that's 3x. And you still have the 45, so plus 45 equals 360. Subtract 45 and you have 3x equals 315. Divide by 3x will be 105, which is option D. Question 15. If 50 1-cent coins were stacked on top of each other in a column, the column would be approximately 3 7/8 inches tall. At this rate, which of the following is closest to the number of 1-cent coins it would take to make an 8-inch tall column? So the approximate way to do this is to say, well, this is roughly 4 inches. And if 50 coins can make 4 inches, then in order to make 8 inches, which is twice as tall as 4 inches, I'm going to need about twice as much. So I'm going to need 100 coins. And so that's why that you can quickly know that the answer is B. And the rest are too far from 100 to make any sense. However, if you want the exact answer, which you don't need for this question, I'll just cover that real quick for completion. You would use a proportion. You would say, well, you know, how many coins do I need to make 8 inches if 50 coins can make 3 7/8 inches? And so you would solve for x. You would times by 8, times by 8, and then you would have x equals whatever this is. Okay, so let's grab the calculator. Okay, here's a calculator. You can put all this in a calculator. One way is to create a fraction, and you would do 50 times 8 on the top, and then for the bottom, 3 7/8 can be done with 3 plus 7 divided by 8. That's 3 7/8. You end up with 103 coins, maybe 104 because you can't have a portion of a coin. So about 103, 104 coins, which is why the answer is B. It's the closest to 103 or 104. Question 16. If A minus B is 12 and B over 2 is 10, what is the value of A plus B? So from here, we can get B. B over 2 is 10. You just times 2 here and times 2 here. And B is 20. We'll keep that in mind. But we need to get A as well. So if A minus B is 12, A minus, well, B is 20, so A minus 20 is 12. Add 20 to both sides, and you get A is 32. But be careful, that's not the final answer, even though they have that as option C. They would like you to add A plus B. 32 plus 20 is 52, so the answer is D. Question 17. Y equals 19.99 plus 1.50x. The equation above models the total cost Y in dollars that a company charges a customer to rent a truck for 1 day and drive the truck X miles. The total cost consists of a flat fee plus a charge per mile driven. When the equation is graphed in the XY plane, what does the y-intercept of the graph represent in terms of the model? So the y-intercept is this number right here. It's the constant term. If you think of y equals mx plus b, where b is the y-intercept, this equation can be written as y equals 1.50x plus 19.99. So the y-intercept is $19.99. Now, for these questions, the y-intercept is the flat fee, like joining a gym or entering an amusement park. And really, the meaning of this is what happens when x is 0. So when x is 0, you haven't driven any miles, and so this is the flat fee. So the answer is A. Typically, the y-intercept will refer to the flat fee. Question 18. The scatter plot above shows data for 10 charities along with the line of best fit. You can see there are 10 dots in here. For the charity with the greatest percent of total expenses spent on programs, which of the following is closest to the difference of the actual percent and percent predicted by the line of best fit? Okay. They would like to know for the charity with the greatest percent of total expenses spent on programs. So in other words, the highest dot that you see, percent of total expenses, percent total, for the charity with the highest percent, this one here is the highest percent. It's 90 something. Now it's even higher than this one, which is also 90 something, but you can see we're looking for the point that is the most north. So specifically this particular point is what we're looking at. And the question about that one is closest to the difference of the actual percent and the percent predicted by the line of best fit. Okay, so we need both. The actual percent is right around here, which is, let's say, approximately 92. We don't have to be so precise. The options are pretty far apart. And the line of best fit would predict something about this. What would the line of best fit predict about someone who did $3,000 and something dollars? Well, let's trace this to the line. Okay, the line of best fit is predicting roughly 85. So the prediction is roughly 85. 92 minus 85 is 7, so there's a 7% difference. So the answer is B. Question 19 and 20 refer to the following information. The formulas above are used in medicine to estimate the body surface area, capital A, in square meters of infants and children whose weight W ranges between 3 and 30 kilograms and whose height H is measured in centimeters. Based on Current's formula, which is this one right here, what is W in terms of A? Okay, so we'll take this formula and we're going to rearrange it to solve it for W. 4 plus W over 30. So the first thing is to multiply both sides by 30. So you times by 30 here and times by 30 here. You would get 30A equals 4 plus W. Since you're trying to solve for W, you would subtract 4 from here. So minus the 4 away, minus the 4 away. Finally, you would have W on this side. And this is just 30A minus 4. 30A minus 4, so the answer is A, 30A minus 4. Let's look at question 20. If Mosteller's and Current's formulas give the same estimate for A, which of the following expressions is equivalent to the square root of HW? Same estimates for A, which means these two are equivalent. So what we will do is equate them to each other. Square root of HW over 60 equals 4 plus W over 30. If we're trying to solve for this radical symbol of HW, you would multiply both sides by 60. So times 60 here, times 60 here. Okay, here you would get the square root of HW, which is what we're trying to solve for. So we are done on the left side. And what's all this? Well, 60 and 30 can simplify to 2 and 1. You divide by 30, you get a 2. You divide by 30, you get a 1. So the final answer would be 4 plus W times 2. 4 plus W times 2, or something like this. 2 times 4 plus W. So the answer is C. Question 21. The scatter plot above shows the number of grams of both protein and total fat for 8 sandwiches on a restaurant menu. The line of best fit for the data is also shown. 8 sandwiches, so you would expect 8 dots in here. Okay. According to the line of best fit, which of the following is closest to the predicted increase, predicted is the line, in total fat in grams for every increase of 1 gram in total protein? Well, now, whenever they say predicted increase for every increase of 1 gram, whenever you see for every change of 1, that is a slope question. Essentially, they are asking you for the slope of this line. And to get the slope, we need 2 points on the line. We don't have to be exact. It says closest to. So as long as we get the number pretty close, we should be okay. But we do need 2 points on the line. So not using these dots, but 2 points on the line. So how about something along the lines of, let's pick something like this point right here, which looks like 10, 19. Remember, we don't have to be exact. And let's pick something like this one, which is 40, about 63. 40, about 63. And so your slope, and these are approximate, would be 63 minus 19. Let's remind ourselves of what we're doing. We're doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 for our slope formula. And that's why I did 63 minus 19 over 40 minus 10. And what does that come out to? Let me grab the calculator. Okay, here's the calculator. We could do a fraction. 63 minus 19 over 40 minus 10. And you get about 22 over 15. Let's convert that to a decimal, math decimal. And it's about 1.5, roughly speaking, 1.46. This is about 1.5. So the answer is C. Question 22. Percent of residents who earned a bachelor's degree or higher. A survey was given to residents of all 50 states. asking if they had earned a bachelor's degree or higher. The results from 7 of the states are given in the table above. The median percent of residents who earned a bachelor's degree or higher for all 50 states, not just these 7, but all 50, was 26.95. What is the difference between the median percent of residents who earned a bachelor's degree or higher for these 7 states and the median for all 50? So, we need the median for each of them. The median for all 50 states is, that's the one they gave us, 26.95%. 26.95%. And what about the median for just these 7 states? Well, we need the middle number when you rank them low to high. So let's see. The lowest is 19. Then after that, 21, 25. Those are the 3 lowest. And the 3 highest are these. So if you take out the 3 lowest and the 3 highest, you have the median, 27.9. That's not in the bottom 3 and not in the top 3. So median for just these 7 is 27.9. And what they would like you to do, is to figure out how far apart these 2 numbers are. So let's get the calculator. Okay, we have the calculator. 27.9 minus 26.95 is 0.95. So the answer is 0.95, which is B. Moving on to question 23. A cylindrical can containing pieces of fruit is filled to the top with syrup before being sealed. The base of the can has an area of 75 square centimeters and the height of the can is 10 centimeters. If 110 cubic centimeters of syrup is needed to fill the can to the top, which of the following is closest to the total volume of the fruit itself in the can? Okay, so we have a cylindrical can. And the formula, the volume formula, which should be on our on the front of the test. So I've included the formula for the volume of a cylinder. It says it's pi r squared times the height. So we don't have the radius, but we do have the base area. So where is this formula coming from? When they say pi r squared times height, this part here is indeed the base area, pi r squared, the area of a circle, which is also on the formula sheet. So base area times height will give you the volume. Our base area is 75, so volume would be base area, capital B, times the height. And the base area is 75, and the height is given to us as 10. If you multiply those with the calculator, you get 750. So the volume of the entire can is 750. Okay, however, the syrup portion is 110. When you fill it to the brim, it's got fruit and syrup. And the syrup is this much, so the fruit is the rest. So we take 750 and subtract 110. You can use your calculator. You get 640 for the fruit itself. So the answer is C. Moving on to question 24. The function above models the height h in feet of an object above ground. T seconds after being launched straight up in the air. What does the number 72 represent in the function? So whenever you see this, that last number is the y-intercept. It's what happens when you plug in 0. If you plugged in 0 right now, h of 0, you would get negative 16 times 0 squared plus 110 times 0 plus 72. All these terms with 0 would disappear because you get 0. So you end up with 72. So the 72 at the end is the initial, is what happens when time is 0. 72 is when the time is 0. What does time is 0 mean? Time is 0 means the initial, and height is 72. It's not initial speed. its initial height, because this is 72 feet. So initial height. So the answer is A. Questions 25 and 26 refer to the following information. The table above gives the typical amounts of energy per gram expressed in both food calories and kilojoules of the three macronutrients in food: protein, fat, and carbohydrates. Okay, if X food calories is equivalent to K kilojoules of the following, which best represents the relationship between X and K? X food calories and K kilojoules. Well, let's just pick one. Let's pick this one. This is saying 4 food calories. So let's use, so we're saying when X happens to be 4, because X is the food calorie amount, then at that point K happens to be 16.7, because K happens to be the kilojoules. So we're saying when X is 4, K is 16.7. And so the relationship between X over K, so we have a couple of things to pick. We can do K equals K in terms of X, X in terms of K, or XK in the product of XK. So what we're saying is that let's start with let's do K over X has to be 16.7 over 4. And if you divide this, 16.7 divided by 4, let's get the calculator. 16.7 divided by 4, you get 4.175. They don't have that. Oh, they have 4.2 roughly, and that's probably what they're going for. So K over X is roughly 4.2, and if you multiply both sides by X, you would get K equals 4.2X. So that's the answer, which is B. Moving on to question 26, same information. If the 180 food calories in a granola bar come entirely from P grams of protein, F grams of fat, and C grams of carbohydrate, which of the following expresses F in terms of P and C? Okay, this is per gram. So 1 gram of protein will contain 4 food calories. 1 gram of protein would have 4 food calories. We're given P grams, so we need 4P from those P grams. If you had 2 grams, you would just take 4 times 2. If you had P grams, you would take 4 times P. It's just 4 times the number of grams you have. So from the protein, we're going to get 4P food calories. And you do the same thing for the fat, it's 9F. Same thing for the carbohydrates, it's 4C. And this will sum up to the total number of food calories in this granola bar, which is 180. Okay, so now we're trying to solve this for F. So let's subtract 4P and 4C from both sides, 4P and 4C. At the end of the day, you get 9F. Let me write that over here. 9F is 180 minus 4P minus 4C. If we look at our options, they all use parentheses. So they want you to group the P and C together. So let's do just that. Before we proceed, 9F is 180 minus 4 parentheses P plus C. Why plus? Because if you distribute it right now, you get negative 4P and negative 4C, and that's exactly what we had on the previous line. That's why it's a plus. If you factor out the negative 4, you need a plus in there. And then from here, you divide by 9, and then you're done. Divide by 9, divide by 9, divide by 9. You wind up with F equals 180 divided by 9 is 20, minus, that's a 4 ninths, parentheses P plus C, And so this is the answer. We have to match it, and we have option B. Moving on to question 27. The world's population has grown at an average rate of 1.9% per year since 1945. There were approximately 4 billion people in the world in that year, 1975. Which of the following functions represents the world's population? P in billions of people, T years since 1975. Okay, so you want to grow by 1.9%. So you do 1 plus 0.019. This represents a 1.9% difference, and 1 plus because you're growing by it. If you were decreasing, you would go 1 minus, but we're growing. So when you add this up, you get 1.019. So we need a 1.019 in our parentheses. And so the answer would be A, because we're going to start with some initial amount called 4 billion. This is in billions. And then the growth rate is 1.019 and to the power of t. So that's the answer. 1.019 to the power of t. So these are not exponential. These are both linear, so these are both not correct. This is actually a 90% per year growth rate. And that's not what we have. We have 1.9. So this is a way bigger growth rate than what we have. So the answer is A. Okay, moving on to question 28. In the xy plane above, a point not shown with coordinates s, t lies on the graph of the linear function f, this line. If s and t are positive integers, what is the ratio of t to s? Okay, this line goes through the origin, which means it's direct variation. You can see that this number is twice as big as this number. 6 over 3 is 2. So the y-coordinate will always be twice the x-coordinate. In other words, y is always 2x. Okay, so s and t. So t will always be twice as big as s. That's what we have. But they want the ratio of t to s. So from here, you divide both sides by s. Divide by s, divide by s, and you get the ratio of t to s on this side. And this side you simply get 2. So the answer is 2. 2 to 1. 2 is the same as 2 over 1. So the answer is C. Moving on to question 29. A circle in the xy plane has this equation, x plus 3 squared plus y minus 1 squared equals 25. Which of the following points does not lie in the interior of the circle? Okay. So the way you would do this is you would plug it in. If you get less than 25, that's on the interior of the circle. Oops, interior. That's an R. If you get exactly 25, you are on the circle. And if you get greater than 25, you're on the exterior of the circle, the outside of the circle. Okay, let's plug it in. Let's put -7 in there. So -7 for the x, 3 for the y. And we'll do the same for the rest. -7 plus 3 squared plus 3 minus 1 squared. This is 16. Use your calculator. And this is 4. This comes out to 20. Now we said if you're less than 25, which is what we are, we're on the inside of the circle. Which of the following points does not lie in the interior? So this point is actually in the interior. It won't be our answer. Let's go to B. -3 plus 3 squared plus 1 minus 1 squared. This is 0 plus 0. This is 0. If you're less than 25, and 0 is indeed less than 25, this is also on the interior. That's also not the answer we were looking for. Let's plug in 0 and 0. 0 plus 3 squared and 0 minus 1 squared. This comes out to 9 plus 1, which is 10. 10 is less than 25. That's also on the interior. So far, It's looking like the answer is D. But let's go ahead and plug that in to check. 3 plus 3 squared plus 2 minus 1 squared. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 squared is 36. Okay, we're already more than 25. No matter what this one is. This is 1. So we get 37, which is greater than 25. It's going to be on the exterior of the circle. It's outside the circle. Does not lie in the interior, so the answer is D. It's actually on the exterior of the circle. Moving on to question 30. The manager of an online news service received the report above on the number of subscriptions sold by the service. The manager estimated that the percent increase from 2012 to 2013 would be double the percent increase from 2013 to 2014. How many subscriptions did the manager expect would be sold in 2014? So we got to figure out how much this changed. So one way to do it is to take 5880 minus the original over the original. And I want to show you another way, which is to just take 5880 and divide it by 5600. And you see the difference. You can get the percent change either way. Let's grab the calculator. Okay, so let's do 5880 minus 5600 divided by 5600. That's a 5% increase. And the other one is to do 5880 divided by 5600. And you can see the only difference is there's an extra 1 there. And you get a 5% increase. So either way, it's a 5% increase. And if you use the fraction way, you would do 5880 minus 5600 over 5600. You get a fraction. You can convert that to a decimal. You get a 5% increase. So this is a 5% increase. Okay. The manager estimated that this increase is double the following one. So 5% is double of what he's expecting next. Okay. So we take 5% and divide it by 2. And we would get 2.5. So now we're expecting only a 2.5 increase from 5880. So we take 5880 and increase it by 2.5%, which it means multiplied by 1.025. And that's how you increase a number by 2.5%. And so that's going to be our final answer, 5880 times 1.025. 6027. 6027. So the answer is B. Moving on to question 31. In 1854, during the California Gold Rush, each ounce of gold was worth $20, and the largest known mass of gold found in California was worth $62,400 in that year. What was the weight in pounds of this mass of gold? Okay, so every ounce is $20. This thing is worth $62,400. What we can do is use some conversion factors. 62,400. And then we know it's 20 bucks for 1 ounce, each ounce, 1 ounce. There are units here. We can put the units in, dollars and dollars. And now we want to convert to pounds. So ounce here, pounds here. 16 ounces make up 1 pound, so 16 ounces make up 1 pound. And so we have our answer, because these units will cancel, dollar and dollar, ounce and ounce, and we have a final answer is something pounds, which is what we're looking for. Let's grab the calculator and let's move this around, and we will see we would like 62,400 times 1 times 1. So our numerator is made up of 62,400 times 1 times 1. Now you don't need the times 1s. You don't have to do times 1 times 1. Just go straight to the denominator. The denominator has a 20 and a 16. So 20 times 16. And this is going to be the answer. 195 pounds. So that's the answer. Moving on to 32. Line T is shown in the xy plane below. What is the slope of line T? Okay, so our slope formula would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so we just need some coordinates. So let's use any 2 points we would like. Let's use these 2 points. So the y coordinates are 3/5 minus -2 and 9 minus 5/2. And we'll get an answer. Let's grab the calculator. We need a fraction. We'll do 3/5 minus -2 is +2, so +2. And 9 minus 5/2. 9 minus 5 divided by 2. So the answer is 0.4. If you like 0.4, you can use 0.4 as your answer. You can also use a fraction version, which is going to be 2/5. And either one is acceptable. You can do 0.4 or 2/5 in your answer. Moving on to question 33. The score on a trivia game is obtained by subtracting the number of incorrect answers from twice the number of correct answers. If a player answered 40 questions and obtained a score of 50, how many questions did the player answer incorrectly? Let me start over. How many questions did the player answer correctly? Okay. So this is a system of equations. We have 40 questions. Let's use 2 variables, x and y. This will be our correct answers. This will be our incorrect answers. You can use c and I if you like, but I'm just going to use x and y. Okay. We know that the total number is 40 questions, so x plus y is going to be 40. The correct and the incorrect added together is 40. Okay, the score is 50. How is the scoring done? So what they do is they subtract the number of incorrect answers. We're going to subtract y from twice the correct answer. So we're going to take twice the correct, 2x, and subtract away the incorrect, which is y, 2x minus y. That's how you get the score. And this particular player got a score of 50. So this is what we have for a system of equations. It's set up very nicely for solving by elimination. You just tally up the columns. This is 3x. These y's add up to nothing, and 3x equals 90. You divide by 3, x equals 30. X was the number of correct answers, so that's what they wanted. So our final answer is 30. Moving on to question 34. Point C is the center of the circle above. What fraction of the area of the circle is the area of the shaded region? This area is shaded, and this is from the formulas in the front of the packet. It says you have 360 degrees in a circle. It's good to know that by heart, so you don't have to refer to the formulas. We have 100 degrees shaded, 100 out of 360. All we have to do is reduce this to lowest term, and we're done. You can do it by hand. You can divide by 4, and you would get 25 out of 90. And then you can divide by 5, which means you could have divided by 20 from the beginning, and you get 5 over 18. And so that's the answer, 5 over 18. Or you can use the calculator, which I recommend. Here's the calculator. You would do a fraction, and you would do 100 over 360. It will tell you it's 5/18, so your answer is 5/18. Moving on to question 35. If the ordered pair xy satisfies the system of equations above, what is one possible value of x? Okay. It says y equals to 4 minus x, so we will use substitution. We're going to plug that into here. So we get 4 minus x equals x squared minus 4x plus 4. And we will subtract 4 from here, as well as add x, forcing this side to become a 0, which is what we need to solve a quadratic equation, an equation of degree 2. x squared minus 4x plus x is minus 3x, and this is gone. So to solve this, you would factor this side. You would go 0 equals, you would factor out the x, and you get x minus 3. So either x equals 0 or x minus 3 equals 0. When you add 3 to both sides, you get x equals 3. So we do have two answers, 0 or 3. You can pick either one for your answer. What's one possible value? You can pick either one. They're both correct. Okay, question 36. In the figure above, tangent B is 3/4. Okay, and BC is 15 and DA is 4. So DA is 4 and BC, the entire length there, is 15. But tangent B is 3/4. Now, we know that sine is opposite of a hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent of a hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. Whenever you see opposite of adjacent 3/4, if the ratio of this side to this side is 3 to 4, that is a 3, 4, 5 right triangle. Or in the ratio of 3, 4, 5, so 6, 8, 10, and things of that sort, the sides are in the ratio of 3 to 4 to 5. That's how you get tangent B equals 3/4. It's a 3, 4, 5 triangle scaled up or down. Okay, so now that we know that, we can start filling in a few things. So tangent B is 3/4. So the ratio of opposite to adjacent is 3 to 4. So if I call this 3x, then this side here is 4x. And also, because this is 15, what we have is a 3, 4, 5 triangle, 3 to 4 to 5 ratio. When you have a 15, you can see it's just been scaled up by a factor of 3. Right, from here to here, you multiply by 3. So 4 times 3 will give you 12, and 3 times 3 will give you 9. So now we actually know that this length is 9, this length is 12. And we have 4x plus 4 equals 12. So 4x plus 4 equals 12, 4x equals 8, x equals 2. But that's not the answer. We want the length of DE, which is here, which is 3x. So 3 times 2. So your final answer is 6. Moving on to question 37. The same 20 contestants on each of 3 days answered 5 questions in order to win a prize. Each contestant received 1 point for each correct answer. The number of contestants receiving a given score on each day is shown in the table above. What was the mean score of the contestants on day 1? Okay, this is day 1. So we're going to use this row. We have contestants. So, you know, 2 contestants got 5 out of 5. So the points, there's 2 folks who got all 5 points. And then there's 3 people who got 4 points. And 4 contestants got 3 points out of 5. So 4 times 3, that's the number of points that they had obtained. 6 times 2, 2 times 1, I'm just going to add it to the total, plus 2 times 1. And then 3 times 0, you can ignore that because 3 times 0 is 0. And then all this divided by the number of contestants, which is 20. We were told that there were 20 contestants. But the numerator is the points that these 20 contestants managed to obtain. Okay, 2 times 5 is 10. 3, that's 12. That's another 12. That's another 12. And that's 2. And that's 0 divided by 20. Go ahead and use your calculator. Here's your calculator. We're going to add 10 plus 3 batches of 12. 12 times 3 plus the other 2. And divide all of that by 20. So the mean is 2.4. Moving on to question 38. No contestant received the same score on 2 different days. So these are all unique. Like these are 7 unique people. 7 different people. Because nobody got the same score on 2 separate days. If a contestant is selected at random, what is the probability that the selected contestant receives a score of 5 on day 2 or 3? Okay. Given that the contestant received a score of 5 on one of the 3 days. Ooh. So, in order to receive a score of 5 on one of the 3 days, that means we're only looking at these 7 contestants. These folks never got a perfect score on any of the days. So we're looking at just these 7 people. So out of 7. Out of these 7, how many of them managed to get a score of 5 on day 2 or 3? So total, 2 plus 3 is 5. So 5 out of 7. The answer is 5/7.